Hello and welcome to day 3 of the London Bookshop Crawl online. Today's theme is Explore, and we'll be exploring some of the far-flung bookshops of the city. Here's what's coming up. We've got loads of great stuff for you today, including 2 fantastic 5 Quick Things videos with TV presenter Gemma Hunt and author Louise Boland.
Hi, I'm Gemma Hunt and I am a children's TV presenter. What do I like about bookshops? I like the fact that you can go in and just hold a tangible book, that you can feel the quality of the cover and the spine, and you can turn the pages and actually my husband loves to smell the books. So if we ever go into a bookshop, he'll open up a book and have a quick little sniff. I don't like to do that too, but that's something that he really appreciates when he goes into a bookshop. I think my favourite bookshop is one on Marylebone High Street in London, and it's Daunt Books. And I first went in there with a family that I used to nanny for. They lived just down the road in Baker Street. And I just remember going in there with children, but feeling like a child myself as you go into this small fronted bookshop, which is very unassuming, and you walk in and it just opens up. It's like walking through the wardrobe and you feel like this whole world behind those doors that's just full of books and awe and wonder, and you just stand there like, wow, it's stunning. And all the brown wood everywhere, it's so regal and so well looked after, and the books look so stunning. And so that's a really special bookshop for me. And I remember I was given by the mother of the family that I nannied for a really nice tote bag that has Daunt Books on it, and it's one of my shopping bags. And I love using it, and it just reminds me of that beautiful bookshop every time I use it. And yeah, so that's definitely one of my favourite bookshops. I think that my favourite bookish find has to be the Paddington statue at Paddington Station in London. That is something else that I used to go and visit with the children that I used to nanny for. It would often be a little day trip. They lived in the area, and we'd go down to Paddington, see if we could find Paddington Bear. And then we'd sit there with our little packed lunches and eat our sandwiches next to Paddington with his little suitcase, his little briefcase with his marmalade sandwiches in it. And I just think that the stories that Michael Bond wrote are timeless. They're such beautiful stories, and they're for all ages as well. Yes, they might be a children's book, but I think that they're definitely just as much for adults as they are for children. I like the fact that Paddington is just a little bit clumsy about his ways and but also just so polite. I'd love to meet him, because then he might call me Miss Gemma, which would be so cool. So yeah, I think the Paddington statue at Paddington Station is a very special find. My book recommendation for 2021 is in fact a book that has been around for a long time, but it's one that I've just read. And considering the current climate that we're living in, I just saw so many similarities between, weirdly, what happened in Nazi Europe and what's happening now. So this is Corrie ten Boom's The Hiding Place, a really inspiring memoir of an incredible woman with an awesome family of faith who really helped a lot of Jews in Holland and protected them at their expense, and the story of how she endured concentration camps. And there's just so much in there about how we need to be able to support one another in really difficult times, and you go above and beyond your call of duty as a watchmaker to support people. And and dealing with rationings and times of turmoil and trouble and distress. So there's just a lot that actually really resonated with me reading this in the pandemic. So I know it's not a current title, but it's a really good read. If you haven't already read it, then I would highly recommend this book.
Thank you, Gemma, for your 5 quick things video. I think that's a wonderful choice of book, one that a lot of people could learn quite a lot from, so I do hope that someone picks it up during the London Bookshop Crawl this year. Gemma is going to be back. She's coming back to host our children's literature panel next week, and that is going to be here on YouTube, so do remember, hit the subscribe button, follow us on this channel. You'll be able to keep up to date with everything that's going on this year. Right now, though, we are very lucky in that we also have a second 5 quick things video this morning. This one is by Louise Boland. She is author of Bookshop Tours of Britain. As you can guess, we quite like that round here. Wonderful book, and I do hope you enjoy her answers.
Hi, I'm Louise. I'm based in Oxford. I'm the author of a book called Bookshop Tours of Britain, so I do a lot of travelling around bookshops and love visiting bookshops. And for me, London is a fantastic place to do bookshop crawling because of the sheer number of fantastic bookshops in London and also their wonderful diversity. It's pretty tough for me to pick my favourite bookshop, so I'm probably going to give a shout out to Belgravia Books. It's a lovely little indie. It has some gorgeous books in there, but it is also connected to a small press called Gallic Books, which specialises in bringing English editions of some of the best French books here. And so I've read some of the books from their list, and they're very good, so I recommend Belgravia Books. I'm going to say the tea in the London Review Bookshop. It's very good. It's exciting. I have 2 book recommendations for 2021. The first is Broadwater. It's a series of short stories, linked short stories, set in and around Broadwater Farm by long-term resident Jack Shrevesley. There's a real sense of community to the stories, and for anyone who's Londoner or interested in London or urban stories, totally recommend this one. The second book I'm going to recommend is for all of us who might be a bit down in the dumps at the moment, obviously not allowed to travel. I very much recommend David and Amina. It's a feel-good love story set in New York. I'm just going to read what Humi Qureshi says about it, because I think they say it better than I could, which is Ami Rao intricately weaves threads of love, family, politics and identity to create a beautiful and very real modern love story that sparkles beneath a New York skyline. So that's David and Amina and Broadwater.
As today's theme is Explore, we are going to be exploring lots of the further out Bookshop Crawl participants on our Instagram throughout the day in the highlights, or bookshop spotlights should I say. And we also just wanted to talk a little bit here about some of our favourite Bookshop Crawl exploring experiences, as that's part of what we do usually in a normal year. So if you're new to Bookshop Crawl this year, we wanted to give you a little bit of a taster of what you can expect in future years. Fingers crossed. And if you're a past participant, then hopefully this will just give you an opportunity for a bit of nostalgia. We just wanted to talk first about a couple of our favourite furthest out participants.
Yeah, I mean, the boundaries of London, they're quite big, obviously. So there are a lot of bookshops that are a long way out of the city centre. Some of them do not get as many people as we would like, if that makes sense, during the London Bookshop Crawl. We would love to support them more.
So here we are telling you, these are the ones you need to visit when you're allowed to visit again.
Definitely. And I think we'll start, shall we say, Brooks? Yeah.
So Brooks in Pinner is a lovely, lovely bookshop. It's my sister and brother-in-law's favourite bookshop. They visit with their young children often. But when you look at the map for the big list, you will see it's the one with a big gap. There's Brooks, and then there's a big gap, and then there's everything else. So it is in Pinner. And the owners are lovely, friendly people. They are full of excellent bookish recommendations. They are still open for online orders. So you can contact them and get recommendations and order books from them, and please do. In normal times, they also operate a coffee shop and wine bar, which is exciting.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, we've been talking to them for a while about the possibilities of doing Bookshop Crawl events there in the future, and that is something that may well come to fruition in a future year. So do check them out online. We will spotlight them on Instagram as well, so you can go and check out all the details of that there.
Edging in slightly, near Ealing, there's the bookshop in...
Pitshanger.
Yeah,
Pitshanger Bookshop, another lovely one. So my family, just full disclosure, my family live in that area, so I'm more familiar with some of these bookshops, but I'm not giving them preferential treatment because we are going to shoot right over the other side of London in a minute and talk about someone else. But Pitshanger Bookshop is actually not signed up this year, but they have participated several years in the past, including last year, and it's just a gorgeous bookshop. It's lovely. It's really well curated, really cosy kind of place. You can go and browse for hours and sit with your kids in normal times, obviously. And also, I believe, open online at the moment, but don't quote me on that because, as I say, they've not registered this year, so I haven't done all my research on them.
The Pitshanger is quite a nice place to visit as well, actually. There's a lot of...
I think it won High Street of the Year a few years back, didn't it?
Yeah, some really nice cafes, so it's a really nice place to go and
lovely.
relax. It's sort of... doesn't feel like it should be in London. It's very quiet, and it's just a lovely place to go to.
Yeah. So then shooting over the other side of London, on the District line normally, it's right up the other end of the District line route, so I think a lot of people don't get there because it's like it's 15 minutes maybe. It's not very far, but it feels like it is going to be quite far. It's Newham Bookshop, which is gorgeous. We went one day just to see, I think it was about 2018 we went, just to see what it was like, and it's one of those bookshops that looks like nothing from the outside. It just looks like you could walk past it, but when you go in, it's amazing.
Because they have moved ever so slightly since...
Yes, the children's... So they have the main bookshop and a children's bookshop, and they were in adjoining buildings, and I think they still are, but the children's bookshop is now over the other side.
Yeah, they sort of swapped
They moved
sides.
down the road. But you'll see on our Instagram there's a couple of gorgeous pictures of what the children's bookshop used to look like when we visited. And it's one of those bookshops that is literally floor to ceiling books, and you kind of have to turn sideways and squeeze around corners, and you're going to find stuff there that you had never considered buying before. And the owner and the booksellers there are lovely as well, and really helpful, and it's definitely worth the journey in normal times. But they are open online, they're taking orders, you can call them for recommendations, you can email them, and they have a website as well, so definitely that's one that's worth checking out.
Definitely. And I mean, if you are a fan of Doctor Who as well, that's a good place to go as well, because a bit further down the road there is also a Doctor Who shop.
Added bonus. I wanted to talk also just quickly about my favourite event of the Bookshop Crawl that I'm going to be really missing this year, that has helped me to explore some new areas of London to me, which is Bunkoffin Bookshop, which we usually do on a Friday afternoon. It runs for 4 hours, and we take a group of bookshop crawlers.
That was a mouthful, wasn't it?
Around different areas. The first year that we did Notting Hill, which is an area that I'm vaguely familiar with, but I wasn't familiar with any of the bookshops from there, and there are amazing bookshops. This year only one is a registered participant, which is Lutyens and Rubinstein. They do a year in book subscription, which is well worth looking at, but they're a lovely bookshop. But Notting Hill bookshops, I really would recommend again for when you can go out in the world again.
We spoke about them yesterday.
We did. I will talk about them all day long because they're lovely, and it's such an eclectic range as well. There's the cookbook bookshop, there's a general bookshop, Notting Hill Bookshop, which is lovely. Lutyens and Rubinstein is another general bookshop, but they stock such different things that you'll find different stuff in them both.
Really good
there's there's a really good Oxfam bookshop. There's the Book and Comic Exchange at the end of the road. So it's just really good. It's a really nice, and it's obviously Notting Hill, it's quirky. Okay, so that was the first one I went to. The second year we did Richmond, which we've talked about as well, which is my local. So that was not as much exploring, although I will say I wasn't familiar with the bookshops in Kew before we started doing that route.
Yeah, definitely.
But then the real exploration was in 2018, I think. We took our son, after we'd finished our morning groups, we took our son over to Herne Hill to visit Tales on Moon Lane, which is an amazing children's bookshop over there. And we were sort of wandering around thinking, oh, wouldn't this be nice? We could do a Bunkoffin Bookshop. So we did Bunkoffin Bookshop last year in Herne Hill and Dulwich, which was really lovely because the only bookshops I'd been to prior to that was when we visited with our son. We went to Charles on Moon Lane, and I think I stuck my head in the door of Herne Hill Books, which is a teeny tiny little bookshop by the railway station. But I hadn't been to any of the Dulwich bookshops, and they're gorgeous. Rye Books in Dulwich is like, you kind of get off the bus and walk down a road, and it's like tucked away in the back down a residential street, or mostly residential street, and it's gorgeous, and it's got a coffee shop in it, and it's really nice. They're just really nice, and it's a really nice area to walk around. Beautiful while we walked between Herne Hill and Dulwich last year, just kind of chatting in our group, and the weather was really nice, which it probably wouldn't have been this year. So we've got snow at the weekend at the moment, so
we're very snowy.
But I really am going to miss this event because it makes me branch out of my comfort zones, because I think we probably all have them. If we are Londoners, then you probably have your areas where you live or you work or you are a lot. And if you're an ex-Londoner like me, you have areas you know from when you were a kid or that you're more comfortable in. And things like this, I hope, help us all to kind of get out of our comfort zones and discover new places and find that, like, oh, hey, up that residential road, there's a really cool bookshop that that is really good to visit. So, yeah, we hope that today we'll do some more of that for you over the content that we have.
Definitely. And also, if you've got ideas of places in London that are sort of like out the way slightly, that have got bookshops, that you think, actually, that would make a really, really good place to go on a future bookshop crawl, or a bunk off and bookshop on a Friday, that would be good locations. Tell us below. Tell us in the comments below. Send us an email. Let us know reasons why. It would be fantastic to get some good ideas, because obviously it's just the pair of us most of the time who trawl around all these locations. And
so it's just up to what we see and what we're paying attention to that year, really, what gets featured. So if you've got something that you would really like us to feature that area, or you really think that we should do that. So in past years, we've had more gallery bookshops involved, more museum bookshops. Obviously, this year they're all closed. So basically, we've got a couple, I think, taking part online, but not many, which we'll talk about tomorrow in the landmarks.
Landmarks tomorrow. So, that was my next question.
Just to wrap up today, we also have a giveaway from the amazing Stanford's Travel Bookshop, which we will be sharing on our Instagram. So make sure you check out that. They'll also be spotlighted today, but they're brilliant, and we need them at the moment because we all need armchair travel.
We do.
Also, this evening, we are doing Ask a Bookseller, which is #LBC Ask a Bookseller, which I mentioned about yesterday. If you've got questions, bring them. If you can't come between 7:30 and 8:30, or you're not on Twitter, send me a message, leave us a comment down below here, send me an email, or send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter. I will pass your questions along and feedback the answers.
Very good.
And that can be for recommendations for anything. Any books you need.
If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Me saying this doesn't just mean that I get you to hit the subscribe button. It also means I get to use this awesome animation that's suddenly appearing on the screen. And skills. Limited skills.
Oh, and I just wanted to mention as well, this year the event is 100% free for everybody. It's always free for bookshops to take part in. Sometimes we have tickets and things that we charge for in a normal year. This year we haven't charged for anything, but if you would like to donate to our running costs, which is just mostly website hosting based and admin stuff, you can buy us a coffee on coffee.com/London Bookshop Crawl, which will come up here.
It'll come up just here, and it's also in the thread above, so we'll if you want to have a look in the thread. That's good.
Or you can buy a Bookshop Crawl tote bag.
Or you can buy a lovely badge. We've got the so on badges.
Pointing your chest.
Just pointing my chest to the screen. Hello.
Sorry, this is taking a turn.
It did yesterday as well.
Oh, it's all the turns, apparently.
Anyway.
Okay, tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow is Landmarks Day. Tomorrow is Saturday.
It is.
Tomorrow is a Big Bookish Quiz live day. So, join us tomorrow.
Wish us good luck on that one. This is going to be interesting.
We'll try to ramble less.
We'll try to... It's not going to happen, is it?
And enjoy today.
Bye.